factual recitation. As you might imagine, in a situation where there is chaos, and look, people are ducking for cover as well, they should have. You are going to get different accounts, and part of what's going on now is reconciling those accounts. And I don't know, Chief, if you want to weigh in more about the weapon, but I don't want anyone to leave this room thinking that this weapon was a long gun, because that would be a misperception from what I know. Alex.
In the video released yesterday, it appears that does that mean that the dash cam in that cruiser is on and activating and that police can able to recover anything useful from that?
So that was a brown police cruiser, and I'm not sure if they have body cameras in their cruisers. I don't think they do.
Dash cam.
Yes. I don't want to answer for the chief.
Are you working with clock camera experts to uncover anything from this?
So as you know, we have we work with Flock, we have LPRs in the city, and we're utilizing every resource we can. Yes, Alex.
Brian.
Colonel, you mentioned there is other evidence, but at this point, how much of this investigation turns on the public identifying in those images? And are you discouraged or surprised that after a couple of days of being mentioned, you haven't gotten anything from them?
No, I think this is like we said it earlier, it's a very intense investigation, and I think it's going to take public assistance. It's actually going to take, obviously, 21st century policing involved in technology, but it's also going to take good old-fashioned police work, which is knocking on doors, retrieving evidence, going through yards, talking to witnesses. It's going to take all that and more, Brian.
And no one's discouraged. I mean, I've been in that command post. No one's discouraged. I mean, leads are coming in, they're being run to ground, and no one's discouraged. Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the command post, as the colonel has, and no one's discouraged. I mean, I get when I'm not there, I get hourly reports from my own team, and there's an enormous amount of energy for people who have been working as hard as they have been. I'm really quite impressed by that, frankly, and there's no discouragement among people who understand that not every case is a case that can be solved quickly. In my view, they get solved. It's just a matter of time. In this case, they'll get solved too.
Would you have a message or appeal to the shooter or anybody who may think they know who they are?
Well, look, certainly it would behoove everyone, including the shooter, to provide information to law enforcement, to the shooter to turn himself in. He will be caught, and it's just a matter of time before we catch him. And I believe that based on my experience, but also from watching the people in that command post and getting reports from where they're coming back out in the field. They know what they're doing, they're experienced, they're working hard. There's no lack of resources. Everyone's working really well together. And we're going to crack this case. And when we crack it, it's going to come open really quickly.
Strike back. That's. Yeah, I have. It's hard work being a small business owner, and this time of year is critical to them. There's a commercial district just off campus called Thayer Street. Those businesses are particularly struggling as both students went home early and some people are avoiding the area. Similarly, there's a couple other commercial districts nearby the area, which is Wickenden Street, as has been discussed here tonight, and Wayland Square. The city's Department of Economic Development, in partnership with the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce, is reaching out to those business owners to look at assistance programs or otherwise try to support them to ensure that their businesses can stay healthy and vibrant through this. Those conversations started yesterday, and so we're working with the various merchants associations to try to determine what sort of assistance might be most helpful, and when it's ready to announce, we will. Thanks. Please.
My question is for the colonel. So looking at the map, there's no videos so far before and there is after the shooting. Do you think the person who was practically existing up in this area, and are you willing to go get more evidence?
Absolutely, yeah. We're looking for that evidence. If there was any vehicles involved, and yes, you're right. He was there earlier, and so that's why we're looking at that as well. And definitely, we're using. I mentioned that earlier. The LPRs, the flock, any cameras. That's why we're making a call out to the public to assist us with that. It's all part of those resources that we're going to need, as the general stated, to make that apprehension.
Dan.
I have a question to follow up first, the Attorney General, Dan Junick, NBC 10.
Hi, Dan.
You mentioned the other day that you released the person of interest because the DNA didn't match, which would assume that there was DNA of the person of interest in that room. Can you tell us what it was, and if he hasn't committed a crime before, how it makes it a little bit more difficult?
Yeah, so DNA, when it's entered into a nationwide system, can confirm the identity of a suspect or subject. And certainly the advantage here is that when we find a person of interest, and we can get a search warrant for what we call a buccal swab, we can compare that to a known quantum of evidence. That can rule people in, and it obviously can rule people out. That's a powerful piece of evidence, but it's not the only evidence. And relatedly to the question about, do we need only the public? The public is going to really help us here by identifying this person. But at the same time, there are other leads coming in through other forms of electronic and other evidence that are taking multiple teams out in different directions. And we're able, through a variety of means, not just DNA evidence, to rule people in or rule people out. And it's a combination of really impressive work by, vector experts in various forms of modern law enforcement techniques.
I have a second
Yeah.
question. So I asked this question out of deep respect, but I asked it for a lot of parents who are frustrated who reached out to me, so please keep it in mind. And they want to know how a school with a $9 billion endowment does not have cameras on one of the older buildings at the edge of the campus where this happened, not even in the front door. Who's coming and going? Now, they asked this question knowing that the shooter may have done whatever he wanted, but the cameras, A, would have deterred, or B, captured a better look at him. He wouldn't be here today 5 days out. I want you to explain that, because there's a lot of parents who are wondering, where are you investigating that?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, and I want to reiterate, as our president did, that supporting our students and communicating to the parents, to our community about our support is of utmost importance. We have 1,200 cameras located throughout the campus. We don't publish the locations of the cameras. That would give a map to somebody to evade detection on the cameras. So that would be counterproductive to do that. There are cameras in this building, and as I answered the previous question, we have turned over all evidence that we are holding at Brown to law enforcement and are cooperating fully with them.
So you're saying that there's cameras in the building. I was told yesterday there wasn't cameras in the building. The Attorney General said, old building, no cameras, attached to a new building with cameras.
I believe he said that there were 2 different phases of the building that might have 2 different levels of technology. Again, all video imagery has been turned over to law enforcement.
That doesn't make sense. to
Amanda.
people.
I have a question for you, question for you.
How you doing, Amanda?
So, looking at this person of interest and from the witness description, this person had a genuine familiarity with Brown, possibly that building as well. Have you any question of people, have you eliminated questions or eliminated any Brown employees, current, former, disgruntled, cases, anything?
Yeah, at this point, it's unknown to us. I think that the investigation is on, but it's unknown to us where this person works. It's unknown to us if he was an affiliate of Brown. That's all unknown to us. All we have is the image that we've been releasing and informed you all about it. And so we're hoping to get those answers eventually, who that person is or what their background is.
Any questions?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I understand that the FBI has powered down to a cell phone data, and I'm not sure if this also happened, and we're also checking the MAC access of any phones related to any of the Wi-Fi residences or Brown University as well. If so, how long does it take to get that information? Have you even received any preliminary information that is helping you narrow down the potential business?
I will say that I don't want to get into the specifics of the techniques that we use investigatively, but I will say that we are using every resource that we have to find this subject and bring him to justice.
But when it comes to cell phone data, how long does it take to get that information? Will you get it weeks, months?
I will say that it varies as it relates to getting that type of data. I will say that everything that we're doing is getting expedited based on the gravity of what has happened here at Brown University. That makes sense.
So we have done extensive searches both inside the location as well as outside. Yes, we have seized and found physical evidence. We have found physical evidence. I'm not going to confirm. I'm sorry? Yeah. Please.
Past couple days, we were in on this particular person of interest. Can you kind of help remind us about why you believe this is someone who possibly could be either the shooter or a suspect? You've been very careful not to say a suspect, the person of interest, that this is the only video case. Can you help remind us about why you believe this is the person of the other?
Yeah, we have enough evidence. I think that's taken us to that level to identify this individual as someone who was there immediately after, before case in the area. There's enough for us to believe that's definitely a subject of interest based on descriptions, based on statements. And so that's the reason we're calling him a subject of interest, just to ensure that we have enough. And once we identify him, to be able to take the next step.
And a quick follow-up, you were, you're not to use gender, but the person in proximity to the person who happened to use male pronouns, describing the person as a man. For this particular person of interest, we can say for sure you believe this, you're looking for a man, the person of interest.
Correct.
In the back there.
At this point, this is the FBI, at this point, this person would be right, identified right through the states. And how are you believing from the states to determine whether this person is community?
No, that's a great question. Through all of our field offices, we have 56 field offices throughout the United States, as well as legats abroad. And so the information that we have, once it goes into our data systems, we are sharing that information real time with all of our FBI field offices and the partners as well. And so that is a way in which we're making sure that whether that subject has left the state or even left the country, that we are using that full reach of the federal arm to track that individual down.